Hello everyone. In today's video, I want to show you an example of an intercultural romantic interaction gone bad. But for those of you who don't know me, my name is Achil Prabhat Rudolf. I'm a social confidence coach and I help predominantly South Asian origin men who want to find the right partner for a relationship here in the West without relying on arranged marriage and without using dating apps. And I have a pretty high cringe tolerance myself because when I was still learning this, which took me a while because I'm also from an Indian background where dating was not part of the culture, I did a lot of mistakes and oftentimes it turned out a bit cringy. And that's pretty normal, but nevertheless, in this example that I'm about to show you, there were some moments where I felt intolerably creeped out. And despite of the mundane and playful headline that I used for this video, this is actually a very serious topic. I think it's part of a larger phenomenon where intercultural communication is breaking down. And at this point, I have talked to enough people and I've seen enough to call it a natural disaster. I think it's a man-made natural disaster that's unfolding in front of our eyes in slow motion right now at an enormous magnitude. And this example is just one instance, but these kinds of stories happen every day, hundreds of times. The story that I want to show you here is a story of a South Asian man from my audience who reached out for help. He's highly educated, he's working as a doctor in a Western country, but he doesn't have a lot of experience with women. He always focused on his career. But then he went to the nightclub one day and for once a woman actually approached him. And they had a good vibe, they actually danced a little bit, they exchanged Instagram. But then he didn't really know how to continue the conversation online. He didn't know how to text this woman. And so he turned to an AI wingman. There's AI tools that help you text better. And what you'll see in this example is that it didn't help. In fact, arguably that AI element is what made it so incredibly creepy. Let's look at the screenshots that he shared with me, and I have consent from him to use this as an educational example here, of course anonymized. So he responds to an Instagram story saying, "Hey, it was a crazy night because of you. So good to meet you. You are the life of the party, the joy bringer. I didn't know that you were so wild. You're so cute." He heaps all this praise on her, praises her into the sky, even though he really doesn't know her that well at this point. And so already here, there's a first element of creepiness, which is that he's putting her on a pedestal and basically lying about what he really thinks about her. He doesn't know her that well, so all these things can't be really his true opinion. You're still in this phase where you're getting to know each other, but he seems like he's already totally in love with her, head over heels. "Are there any chance if you want to get in trouble with a bad boy like me and party again?" He also asks her out immediately. It's another bad idea. You still have to warm it up. You can't expect that just because you had a good vibe 3 days ago, there will be a good vibe right now in this moment where she's totally up for meeting you again. And of course, this flirty, cheesy tone here is inappropriate for this part of the conversation. But lo and behold, she actually does respond. However, she declines politely. "I don't think I have time for that. It was still nice to meet you." But our man doesn't take the cue. He keeps throwing praise at her, saying that he's only funny because of her. "You are the total package, so cute, wild and fun." And he calls her an angel. And then he says that he can help her. He offers her help in uni, and he offers her help with relaxing after uni. He just got rejected. And instead of taking a step back, he ramps up the flirtiness. Now she says it more clearly, not interested. And she has to now make up a boyfriend story. We know this because he actually talked to her and found out that she doesn't have a boyfriend. But she's still being polite about it. "Thank you. I can't accept the offer." Here again, he keeps going. And this is probably something that resulted from his use of AI, because if you give AI a problem, it will always find a solution. And in this case, the only reasonable thing to do would be to just stop texting or say thank you, goodbye. And maybe the AI actually suggested that, but if you say, hey AI, please give me a solution, give me something else, then it will tell you something. And so he writes, haha, I wasn't even offering anything, just expressing my feelings. We can just hang out in a friendly way. We can cuddle. We can cuddle and chill as friends. And now he has lost all trust because he's basically telling her that he lied to her earlier. And it's clear that he's lying in that moment as well. He's disowning his true intentions, and he's not able to stand his ground and actually stand behind what he said. She says, big no. It's a miracle that she still responded to me, to be honest. And then the final blow. Did I say something wrong? Well, yes, buddy, you did. But you learned from it, hopefully. And by the way, if you want to learn from your mistakes, join my free community where you can submit examples like this and we'll take it apart and analyze whatever went wrong. And if you want to get into a more intense personal coaching process, you can check the link in the description below where we can schedule a call and talk about it. With people moving across the globe, intercultural communication is an absolute necessity. And it's working all right inside the work context. In people's jobs, they usually manage to collaborate with people from other cultures. But when it comes to social and private life, honestly, it's a disaster. And especially with respect to dating, because dating is that one area where the cultures probably differ the most. And we have right now, we should be able to call it out, a pandemic of depressed, lonely immigrant men who don't know how to get matches online, who don't know how to talk to people offline, who only have friends from their own country, usually other men. And so when it comes to expressing their romantic desires, they just run into these kinds of uncomfortable situations. And apart from frustrating the men, it also, of course, leads those women to get upset and form more extreme stereotypes. And then the men don't even do it in the first place because they hear these kinds of stories and they definitely don't want to be perceived as a creep. They definitely don't want to make someone uncomfortable, so they don't get any experience. Many turn to porn, prostitution, or just suppress all sexual urges and say, I'm going to focus on my career. And then they're left with no other option but to get an arranged marriage. They never get to upgrade their emotional, intercultural intelligence. And that just gets passed on to the next generation. This is a big problem for Western societies, but it's not necessarily anyone's fault. This is a highly complex emergent phenomenon. And what's clear is that the West has invited you as an immigrant in, and it needs to accept that you're a man who wants to eventually find a partner to share your life with. And so someone should have been aware of this problem and should have designed a program to sensitize you and to train you in these skills that are necessary to find a partner over here, but they didn't, right? So ultimately, we have to realize as immigrants that it's our responsibility to figure this out. You have to learn how to do this properly, and regular institutions are usually not going to tell you. Native people just naturally learn this through their upbringing. So as an immigrant, this is going to be extra work for you, but there's no one else who's going to take that off your plate. And it's not enough to look at an example of a mess up like here in this video. You also have to really understand the principles that decide whether communication is perceived as creepy or not. And if you're ready to learn those principles, then check out another video that I made on this exact topic. For now, thanks a lot for watching. Samgachadvam. Namaskar.